And welcome to the preview show. Mitchell, we're back here in the preview show studio after about what seems like an eternity.
It's been a while, yeah, it's definitely good. Definitely good.
Of course, we've had some really close matches in the space of time that we've been away, but we've got a really important match coming up this Friday as well. But coming up on tonight's show, some good guests coming up there, Mitchell, but we're going to look back over last weekend's matches. A good win against Peterborough, slightly disappointing night at Glasgow as well, but just to look at the Peterborough match first. Tough conditions, I wasn't actually there myself, but you can tell me a bit more about that just now.
Yeah, it was definitely not ideal conditions, but with the time running out, to get the fixtures done, we needed to sort of get on with it. It was a little tricky at first. It caught me out good and proper. Not the greatest night for me, but the rest of the boys sort of got to grips with it a lot quicker, and started really rolling in the points, and I think we nullified their tactical ride as well. So it was I think an all round good night. Especially the fact that we were missing Sam. Ludwig came in, done a good job, but still missing Sam's power up at number one, aren't they? Yeah, you're always gonna miss that, aren't you? You get familiar riding with your own number one. Ludwig's he's an excellent guest at Armadale, but he's still not even number one for his own team. So it was sort of a risky move, but he done a really good job for us. But what you get with Sam, and it can be missed.
Miss him again on Saturday night.
Yeah, I think so. He's good everywhere he goes, isn't he? So you miss sort of the number one rolling in. It wasn't until I think a couple of days after the fixtures I looked at like the scorecard, and Ludwig was definitely trying his best. There's no doubting that. But yeah, just I don't think he had the same firepower or scoring power as what potentially Sam may have had. But you can't script these things.
One man who had a good weekend was Josh Pickering, especially at Glasgow. A track perhaps he was struggling to get grips with earlier on in the season, but he seemed on Saturday night to have found the best line around there, and that must be positive if we do meet Glasgow again later on in the season. Yeah, definitely. Picker, he had a really good weekend, and I think he's got the ball rolling again. It's almost like he's fresh and rejuvenated. I know he's had a few problems himself, but he's ironed, like bike problems that is, and he's ironed them out, and it's really showing, and he's riding, and he's back to attacking the tracks like we've seen at the start of the year. Course. As we say, coming up this week is an important match against Ipswich. As we said, Sam Masters going to be missing that meeting once again, but we've got an able replacement this week once again, and former GP star Chris Harris. Of course, we've seen him in World Cups. We've actually seen him in the last 2 weeks at Armadale Stadium. He helped Sheffield to a big win over the Monarchs a couple of weeks back. Probably was a wee bit disappointed in Friday past. But that's a good guest for the club to bring in. I mean, he's got a mountain of experience, and the fact he's been at Armadale the last 2 weeks can only benefit us.
Yeah, he obviously likes to drive from wherever he's based to make it 3 weeks on the trot. But yeah, cracking job by the management to bring in Chris. You only got to look at basically his speedway resume, and who better to fit the bill than to take the place of Sam. He's got tons of experience, and his form the past 2 weeks has been good. So. Let's hope he makes it 3 weeks on the bounce.
Of course. Before we hear from him, we can see what Chris Harris is all about around Armadale, and then we can hear from the man himself.
Heat 14, James Greaves, who would need a few points if he's going to qualify. Steve Worrell, Charles Wright, and Chris Harris on the outside. And Chris still hasn't made the gate. Gating's awful. He'll have to make sure he doesn't knock anybody off as he goes sweeping into that top bend. So James Greaves leads from Chris Harris. Harris goes for the wide line and runs pretty quickly around there. Track usually would be much better for passing than it is tonight, but in Harris's case, doesn't seem to be too much of a problem as he comes roaring through there. Greaves trying to come back. He is quite tenacious on that line, but I don't think he's going to get Harris back again. Good race though. Completely different riding by Greaves from some of his earlier races. And in the end, Chris Harris makes sure. It takes his score to 9, so in spite of his exclusion, that should be well and truly through for him as well. Very good effort by James Greaves as well there, made that a good race.
Chris Harris, Chris obviously guesting in place of Sam this Friday, 3 weeks in the tour at Armadale. You're becoming a regular up here.
Yeah, it's obviously always great honour to guest, especially for a club like Edinburgh. Obviously, it's a shame that Sam's out injured, but hopefully I can step in and do a good job and hopefully score a few points that he would have done if he was there.
I think before you guested for Sheffield a couple of weeks back, I think the last time you rode up here was in a British semi-final. Any differences in the track during that time, or is it just the same old Armadale that you remember?
Yeah, no, obviously it feels the same. It's always been a great racetrack. To be fair, Doc's always done a good job preparing it over the years and everything. So, it's I always enjoyed riding it, and back then, and obviously it's still the same now to ride. So, which is good.
Since you've got back into the championship, what do you think of the standards? Do you think it's pretty much the same as the Premiership?
Yeah, they're not closer, which is what I think they're trying to achieve now, to make it a bit closer and all. But the competition is hard. I got criticised for stepping back down and doubling up, doubling down in that. But there's just fantastic riders in the championship. Like I said, like there's Sam, there's Ricky Wells, there's Danny King. There's Craig Cook. There's some really good riders in it. So when people criticise me for stepping down to it, I believe that they was knocking the riders that was already in it.
And it's more emphasised this week with the fact that Scott Nichols is now guesting down in the championship. Just goes to prove the kind of strength and depth in it, really, doesn't it?
Yeah, when you've got sites as Scott can double down now, guesting. Obviously averages play a big part of everything as well, but it just shows that they are the leagues are closer. Obviously we haven't got the many Grand Prix and world class riders in it, but there's still the riders in it are still valued for money, as in there's flying good racing. If this racetrack's good, then you can have some good racing. It doesn't matter if they're world class riders or newbies. If the track's raceable and fair for everyone, then you can have some good racing. It doesn't matter what riders are out there.
For your own point of view, Chris, does the fact that you're able to kind of double up between the Championship and the Premiership give maybe a better home life, better work-life balance, so to speak, where you're not perhaps travelling to Poland over weekends?
My main thing was I wanted to be riding my bike as much as I possibly can. Doubling up obviously gives you that better home life, because you're 9 times out of 10 you're going to be home in your own bed after the meeting. But I did and still enjoy riding on the continent in Poland, and because of the atmosphere and the way the racing is out there. Don't get me wrong, I do still enjoy that, but for convenience and that, doubling up is ideal. But I still enjoyed riding on the continent and still do. So what the future will bring for next year, once we know the rules and that, if we can double up again, and that will be something that I'll be definitely hopefully can do and everything. But it's all, for me, it's more about bike time. I'm not getting any younger, so I want to ride my bike as much as I can.
Does the fact that you're able to now double up gives you more chance and scope to do a lot more guest bookings, and you seem to be taking advantage of that recently as well?
Yeah, I've always obviously done a lot of guesting, but not many in the Championship. But now I can do in both leagues. So yeah, I've got the potential to to earn more with the guest bookings, which obviously I've had a few over the last few weeks. I've been really busy, so which is great. Which is it's a long old winter, so the more I can ride now, the better for me and better for club, my own club as well. The more I'm riding, the better I'm riding for everyone really. And wherever I ride for, I always give 110%. You know, it doesn't matter from riding for my club or guesting for a club and for anyone. You know, I'm a racer and I want to race and win races.
Yeah, just to look ahead to this Friday, it's obviously a huge match for Edinburgh against a top 4 rival. The last time you were guesting at Armadale, you kind of put a dent in the Monarchs challenge. Is this a way of redeeming that, Chris?
Yeah, you know, that's when I was guessing at Sheffield, it was obviously good for me. I had a good night in that, but yeah, if I can go there and redeem it itself and get an Edinburgh win, that's what we'll be going for. I'm sure it's going to be a tough match. It should say got some good riders, but so is Edinburgh. You know, the train they put together again this year is fantastic. So hopefully I can step in and fill Sam's shoes and or boots, as I say, and score a lot of points that he would if he was riding.
Well, Chris, we look forward to seeing you in Monarchs cars on Friday, and we'll catch you then.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks to Chris for taking the time to speak to us there. Coming back into the Monarchs ranks this week is Mark Riss. After a lengthy period on the sidelines after hurting his hand, Mitchell, he's had operations and all sorts, but we're glad to welcome him back. But we need to thank, first and foremost, Phil Piper for his efforts during that period where he's come into the side. No doubt Theo's put himself in the shop window. Probably too late for this season with the transfer windows. I'm not quite sure how those rules work, but he's definitely put himself in the shop window for next year. But Mark coming back into the side, just looking to the tail end of the season, it's important we get him in now and get him track time, isn't it?
Yeah, I think he's had. I didn't realise how long it's actually been since he's been off the bike. It was a nasty injury he took to his hand, and obviously to get it all mobile and everything, and get all his movement right and the feeling right, and to get him track time before, what you call the business end of the season, isn't it? And to get him that time, and then if he can regain the form that he had early on in the season, I don't think anyone's going to complain, are they?
Of course not.
But yeah, again, massive thanks to Theo for stepping in, and he really settled in with the team straight off. He's been in Armadale before. He knows all the boys. So yeah, it was good to have him in the side.
Just a quick reminder of what Mark Riss is capable of.
Heat 12, Eric Riss, Richard Hall, Mark Riss and Jonas B. Anderson. And the Riss brothers have got away this time. Anderson trying to come through the middle there. Mark and Eric lead the way. Anderson on that inside line, and he's come inside Eric Riss there very impressively. Riss fighting back round the very wide line. Anderson just squeezes him up against the fence. Fair enough that. Eric really seems to lack pace tonight. He'll not be happy. Anderson trying to make up ground on Mark Riss. Mark, I think, has got the bit between his teeth there, though. Looking very quick. So 4-2 in the end, and Eric Riss's night was not a good one. Ends with a third place.
As we say, Mark coming back for a nasty injury. Mitchell, you'll know better than most people. I mean, it was a nasty crash at the time. I think there was even talk he'd been able to see bone and stuff like that through his hand when he'd done it. I think he fainted and stuff like that. I mean, to come back for a nasty injury, it's mental willpower more than anything else, really, isn't it?
Yeah, that's it. We were speaking to Mark last Friday, and you can see the scars and that, and from what actually happened and everything like that, and yeah, for him to, your hands are a vital part of your life and that, isn't it? So you need it, and yeah, for him to be ready to step straight back in and go for it. But yeah, it was from reports, it wasn't pretty on the night. The injury he sustained, I tried to avoid it It's not something
No.
you really want to look at while you got to try and focus and go and do a job. But speaking to Eric afterwards, it wasn't an ideal situation, but thankfully it's all sorted and he's got ready to get back racing and doing what he loves.
We know the Rust boys have got their own kind of training track at their own facility or whatever. Is Mark, haven't spoken to Mark, has Mark been doing a bit of riding on his own track? What's he done up until this stage?
I think he's had a few practices at their house in Germany where they got a small track, but he was attending a meeting I was at on Sunday there, and he was hoping to get out at Wolves, and I think he was hoping to get to a few other tracks this week just to really get some bike time, obviously, before jumping into that race situation. But I know the weather cost him a second half ride at Wolves. But I'm sure he's probably tried to get on a track somewhere at some point this week, and just to get back on the bike, isn't it, and get the feel for it.
Of course. As we mentioned, Ipswich come this week full strength. There was doubts over Justin Session and Caledonian Newman. Of course, Justin struggling with a shoulder injury, but he's planning to race through the pain barrier. Kyle was struggling with injury, but as we've seen on BT Sport through the week, back to full form. And then you've got guys like Danny King, Rory, all experts around Armadale, and a man I think could be a dark horse on Friday's Cameron Heaps. Cameron, who stepped into the Premiership in recent weeks with Somerset, going really well right now. Yeah,
he's in a good vein of form, I think got to see him the past 2 weeks on BT, so he's really flying at the moment. But at the end of the day, they're all beatable, and they have great experience around Armadale and things like that. But we got to look at them as they're just riders like us. We got to beat them and get the job done, essentially.
We've spoke before about how strong a top five Ipswich have got. Probably, as we've said in the past, probably the strongest top five in the league. Was that even more important to get a number one in that could be as dominant as Chris Harris and to replace Sam? Because we do need those points at the top end of the team, don't we?
Yeah, you always look for a good amount of points from your number one, and they sort of set the tone for the meeting in Heat 1. If you set off with either your home rider winning or even a heat advantage for the home team, it puts a buzz through the rest of the team, to want to keep it going and keep building. And then I think you got the fact of it's Danny King, the opposing number one. Everyone knows how good Danny can be around Armadale, so you need someone to match or be better than him, and Chris fits the bill.
Of course, and absolutely mouthwater on Heat 1 coming up on Friday with Danny, Chris, and of course I think Kyle's at number 2 there as well. Absolutely mouthwater, and that just goes to show the quality it's on show. I mean, Chris, former Grand Prix rider, Danny King, British champion last year, rode in the Grand Prix last year, all World Cup experience. I mean, these are two guys that are at the very top of British Speedway at the very minimum.
Yeah, and they say Championship's the middle league, and it's hard to justify the difference between the two now. When you see the calibre of riders. I think all the number ones probably in the Championship have at least World Cup experience or whatever. So it just shows you how tough a league it is, and it can't be underestimated. And it's going to be. I think everyone's going to have their eyes on that Heat 1, definitely watching it.
I think we're actually just that we must be close now to one big league. That's my opinion anyway, because I see this week that Scott Nichols is now guesting down in the Championship, so the actual definition between the two leagues, I'm not really sure that actually exists anymore. But back to Friday night, ahead of Friday night's match, I caught up with Kyle Newman to get his thoughts on the match at Armadale on Friday.
Gate 6 Ludwig Lundgren's on Gate 1, Gate 2 Kyle Newman, Gate 3 Ryan Fisher, and Shelby Rutherford takes what I think will be his third ride if you count the blank one from Gate 4. And Newman's made a good start. Fisher's going blasting round the outside and just manages to avoid running into the fence. Almost causes a major problem for his partner. Ludwig having a go around the outside, Newman pressing on the inside. Oh, what a mess. Fisher virtually put Ludwig Lundgren in the fence there. This is a tremendous race, but it was almost ended in disaster there, and Fisher's riding so wild. Lindgren into his last lap. I've lost track of the laps. Newman might get up the inside here. It's a brave ride by Ludwig Lindgren. Fisher will have to calm down, that was awful. So it's a 4-2 in the end, and a hair-raising race indeed, and Fisher obviously didn't realise Lindgren was outside him. What a win that was for Ludwig Lindgren, and what an incredible guest he's proving to be.
Kyle, Armadale this Friday, obviously it's an important period of the season for Ipswich. Face Workington Thursday, Workington Saturday, but in the middle of that, of course, Edinburgh on Friday. How are you assessing the Ipswich Witches' chances of making the playoffs?
Yeah, we're feeling pretty confident. We're sitting quite all right at the moment. We had a bit of a blip a couple of weeks back, but we're sort of bouncing back from that, and we've got to, just keep pushing on and pushing forwards, and make sure we retain that spot and get ready to go again.
From an Ipswich point of view, Kyle, was the Edinburgh defeat at home maybe a kick up the backside that the guys kind of needed, that they need to be on the ball in every single meeting at home as well, and how crucial that is?
Yeah, I think so. We've had a bit, like I say, we had that blip, and we had the problem where, like, the second half of the meeting, we kept tailing off, and yeah, I think it did. I think it probably sort of kicked, like you say, it's gave us all a kick up the backside, and realised that we've got to push on for 15 heats as opposed to sort of 8 or 9, and keep going until the job's done.
Obviously, the Witches had a good win at Scunthorpe last Sunday. Does that give you confidence on the road?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, kind of the irony of it, the second half of the meeting for us was the better half. So that shows that we have sort of got our heads on, and we do know what job to do. So and we feel confident. We look in our lineup of 7 riders, and we feel confident we can take anybody on anywhere.
Last time out at Armadale, I think the Witches were leading up until halfway point of the match. The track wasn't in good condition that night. Hopefully better conditions on Friday. But I must give the guys confidence going into Friday night, considering the amount of both 2 ex-riders in Rory and Justin, but a lot of guys that go well around Armadale. Yeah,
definitely. If the track's prepared nice, it's quite a tricky track because of the size of it, and but yeah, if you know that you're going to go there and get a good racing prepared track, then it gives you a lot more confidence, and you go out there and you obviously if you're more confident, you get out the starts and you become a lot more competitive.
Of course, the last time out, I think you were leading Heat 8 and then fell. What happened there?
I just went in a little bit tight into bend 3. I must admit, it's not been a great track for me in the past, but I've always had problems with that bend, so I've got to learn from that and make sure I don't do the same mistake again. And I need to turn my score around there and make sure I pull my finger out and pull my weight.
Just looking at your season as a whole, Kyle, obviously you've had your fair share of injuries. Has it been a season to forget up until this point?
yeah, you could say that. It's the body's definitely feeling it from this year, and it would have been nice to steer clear, but it is what it is. I'm not going to sit and grumble. I just got to keep persevering, keep pushing through. I've got injuries at the moment. I've just got to carry them on and keep riding through.
Just to look at your Premiership kind of form, Kyle. You made the mid-season switch somewhat controversially between Poole and Leicester, but do you feel as if you've maybe got a wee new lease of life at Leicester? We've seen you in the telly last week. Do you feel as if it's giving you a new impetus, really?
Yeah, definitely. It's I seem to go well on some of the bigger Premiership tracks, and it's just been nice going to a club where they really appreciate you and the pressure's off, and you can just go and enjoy it. It's very similar to Ipswich. I've got 2 great clubs, and I'm starting to enjoy my Speedway again, and when that happens, just scores start to go up.
And as I said, it's not just a busy period for Ipswich, but a busy period for Leicester as well. I think I think it's 2 days off in about the last 7. You've certainly they're getting their money's worth out of you.
Yeah, it's I know I had a day off yesterday, or well Tuesday, so yeah, that was quite nice to just relax for a little bit, wash the bike at a sort of leisurely pace, and then sort of stroll off to the gym for the evening and just have it all nice and easy. But yeah, I like being busy. I know it's hard when you're feeling a bit down and beat up, but I prefer being busy than sat around twiddling your thumbs, because you've got less time to think about things. If you have a bad race or a bad night, you don't get a chance to sit and dwell on it. You're already back into it the next night, so I prefer that.
Well, Kel, we look forward to seeing you Friday.
Yep, cheers for that, mate.
Thanks to Kyle for speaking to us through the week there. He's obviously very busy this week. I think he's got about 9 meetings in 8 days, so for him to take his time on his day off to speak to me, I really appreciate that. Coming up a week on Friday is of course the restaging of the Caledonian Riders Championship in association with Lithgow Tyres and Exhaust. Mitchell, I'm going to announce 6 names here. Of course, the man sitting next to me is going to be the very first name that we're going to announce here. Mitchell, this is the restaging of it. Unfortunately for some, you possibly might be the only home hero in the field. Pressure on you?
Yeah and no. At the end of the day, it's another meeting. I've just got to sort of go in there and, in a way, use it for practice as well. For the important league fixtures. I think I need a bit more track time around Edinburgh. Just to really get me settled and make sure that I'm on form. But at the same time, you want to win when you get put into a meeting like this.
Of course, we say Mitchell's the first man to be announced. Here's the next 5. Couple interesting names to announce just at the beginning here, Mitchell. A bit of competition for you there. We've seen Cody Garcia at the early part of the season with Redcar. James Sargent has always been a favourite around Armadale as well, maybe for the right or wrong reasons, but I'm really looking forward to seeing him in this field. And of course the name that I think's been brought up, it was scheduled to ride in the Buxton meeting, was Jacob Buckhave. If I'm pronouncing that properly, I'm sorry if I'm not. Really interesting to see how he goes.
Yeah, that's it. I got the chance to race against him at the Stars of Tomorrow at Berwick, and he's a good rider. I think he's on the hunt for a championship spot for next season. So it's good of him to take on the meeting, and it just adds extra flavour to the lineup, doesn't it?
Of course, absolutely excellent effort for him as well, because he's actually flying in from the Ukraine on the Friday morning to make sure he can race. He's actually racing there on the Thursday, so we thank him for the effort he's putting in to race in the meeting. We see down at the bottom there, Mitchell, Dale Lamb and Kev Whelan coming in. Of course, this is the type of meeting we're looking to get them involved in to try and aid their progression in the sport. Mixing with some of these names, how important is it? I mean, I always hear for riders that you only improve by racing against better riders. These kind of guys doing second halves, National Junior League, they're racing against the same guys all the time. Is this something that could be good for them for where they should be aspiring to get to? Yeah,
it's at the sort of the next stepping stone for them. They do the laps around there every Friday, and to get themselves in an actual race meeting, lining up 4 guys at the tapes every time. It's only going to do them good, and as long as they take the right sort of learning aspects from it all, take the positives and don't focus on the negatives, it could see their careers really kickstart, and hopefully get them in the National League and keep progression from there.
Exactly. We're going to actually have 2 competitions on the one night. Interestingly, we come up with this idea through the week. What we're going to do is with the bottom 4 scorers in the meeting, we're going to add them to the 2 reserves. So we'll have 1 semi-final with 4 races, and then the top 2 from the bottom 4, if that makes sense. we'll go straight into the final for the Caledonian Junior Riders Championship. So we'll have 2 finals on the night, and it's more races, more demonstration races, more track time for everybody, which is exactly what everybody wants. And again, I must say thank you to everybody who's kept their sponsorship for the meeting. Really looking forward to this happening now, and of course, as we say, that will take place a week on Friday. What we're going to do now is we're going to go to our regular feature, Mike Hunter's Blast from the Past, 2 classic races against Ipswich.
Here we go with heat number 8 then, and on the inside for the Witches is Adam Ellis. Gate number 2 for the Monarchs is guest Joe Jacobs. Gate 3 in white, Cameron Heaps, and gate number 4 is Justin Sedgman in the red helmet colour. Watch out for Heaps here, he's had a great start to this meeting, looking very, very fast indeed. Of course, beating Justin Sedgman in one of his previous rides as well. Ellis, of course, a heat winner back in heat number 2. Fast starting youngster. What can he do here in heat number 8 as the start marshal walks away? It's a great start by the Witches pair in white. That is Cameron Heaps ahead of fellow Australian Justin Sedgman, but Justin Sedgman looks to work that inside line to see if he can get past Heaps, and he does get over the start-finish line. He comes up the inside of Heaps and pushes him wide, but it's both Witches that are in second and third. This would be a 3-0, but that was a great pass by Justin Sedgman. He holds that inside line, drifts wide to cut off the run of Heaps, and is now going to stretch his advantage over his fellow countrymen. Sedgman's been in tremendous form, of course, was in great form last night, so he got involved in 3-5-1s in the first 5 heats at Foxhall, but Heaps now putting Sedgman under pressure. He's found the line, Heaps, he's looking very, very fast this evening on this Armadale track. Can he get by Sedgman? Of course, Adam Ellis holding third place, but it's Heaps on the outside of Sedgman. Can he get past him? And he gets him on the line. That's a great pass by Cameron Heaps on fellow countryman Sedgman. Brilliant race by the Australian duo. Sedgman doesn't look happy with that defeat, but Heaps is delighted. That's a great win by the Australian youngster. That gives the Ipswich Witches a 4-2 in heat number 8, and it takes the Monarchs on to 26 points and the Witches on to 22.
Well, let's hope we get them away this time. It was moving again there, to be honest, but the referee's given up and let it go this time. And look at Tungate, another tremendous effort to try and get round the outside of Cook. He might have done it this time. He has. That's a superb effort until he's past Lanham momentarily. He's still there. Cook goes for the big blast, but it's difficult in these conditions. He's desperately trying to hang on there. Cook's again gone for the outside run, and he's dicing with danger out there, I think. Now he comes down for the cutback. Brilliant effort by Tungate to hang on. Cook's really putting him under pressure. Where's he going to go this time? Once again trying to blast for the inside, and he's done it. Oh, terrific ride by Cook, and a good one by Tungate as well, but a 4-2 in the end. That finally takes Ipswich over the finishing line, but that was a great race.
Of course, this Friday, Mitchell, big night for one of our regulars. Of course, that is Ed the Monarch. Of course, it's his birthday bash on Friday. There'll be lots of stuff happening around about it. Cake for the kids, lots of stuff for the family as well. So make sure you get down for Ed's birthday bash. It couldn't be any better. Of course, Ed, he'll revel in this. I know, that's what he loves the attention every week. So to be able to celebrate his birthday in front of hopefully a massive crowd, I just hope they save some cake for the riders after the meeting. That'd be nice. Me too. After we do the preview show and we're the latest ones out there, we want kept some birthday cake. Sorry, Friday Focus. Of course, if you want to join in Ed's birthday bash, you can buy your tickets for Friday's match on the official Edinburgh Monarchs website. So if you're watching on Facebook, get yourself over there now and get your discounted tickets for Friday's crucial SGB Championship match against the Ipswich Witches. All that's left for me to say, Mitchell, is have a good meeting on Friday. Cheers. And we'll catch all you guys at Armadale Stadium on Friday night. Good night. Night.